What's happening, Hoodlum Gang? Welcome back to my channel. This your boy Hoodie from the Hood, aka your friend from that big O end. Right back at y'all with another dope conversation as usual. Before I introduce my guests, I just want to say shout out to the Content Cartel, ODM Slim, Lupe, Dreamforn, Spotted Low, S Bone, etc. You know what I mean? Also, if y'all want to find these conversations a lot easier, I created a playlist on my channel. You can go to the conversations playlist and all of these are right there, so you don't have to go through all my videos looking for them. Also, my impersonations, the one I did on Cartoon 89 on up, homie, Dubs, that's a different playlist too. So people be asking me, where are they at? Anytime I do something in that genre, it'll be put in these playlists that y'all can find a lot easier. With that being said, I'm gonna let my guest introduce himself. You probably seen him around already with Melly Mel and various other platforms. But go ahead and introduce yourself to the Hoodlum Gang and the YouTube world.
What's happening, man? As you guys all know, I'm the ball game, man. I'm from up out of Ocean View Park, the original Central City Gangster set, formerly known now as the 5'9" Brims blood set.
Right, and before we get to the Central City part, we gonna start from the beginning. What year were you born?
I was born in 1967, here in San Diego. I was born in 67, man. Initially we started off in Linda Vista, navigated from Linda Vista. My mother moved us to the hood right around the corner from Gompers. From there, back to East Dago. From there to 33rd, and the coast is where I originally started with my homies from the west side. You know what I'm saying? You know, and in 76, my mama moved us across the bridge, 35th and Ocean View, and that's when that Central City thing started from there.
Now, when you say you originally started in the west side, you don't mean you was from there. You mean that's where you was off the porch?
Well, I was off the porch because I was hanging with my homeboys, Big Dookie Stick, Crazy Mike, Stacy Singleton. I'm talking about all the G's, Finny Boy, Smiling Owl, Big Monk, whoever you name. My cousin Teeny is original Crip left from West Coast. So she would take me and my cousin Flint and my younger brother Melly Mel to all the parties in the late 70s. So when I first started going to the parties, I was marching to the parties with the homies from the west side.
Right.
You understand? And at that time, a lot of them brothers, younger brothers, they really wouldn't let you represent a set. There was some real putting on back then. If you didn't grow up in one of these particular blocks or grew up in the neighborhood, you couldn't come over there flashing whatever you was gonna be flashing.
Right.
And one thing I appreciated about Big Les Wood and some of the brothers from West Coast, they wouldn't let us come off the porch banging. You know what I mean? And if they had, more than likely, I'd have probably been originally from the west side.
Right. So it was their standards and their rules that pretty much held you back from being from there.
That part, yeah.
Right. And I'm quite sure you cool with a lot of them dudes to this day,
Yes.
if they still around.
Yes, with the majority of them.
All right. So you said in 76 you moved across the bridge, which is over the 15 freeway.
Right.
Was that freeway there in 76?
Yes.
Oh, it was?
Yes, the freeway was there and the gully. You know what I mean? They had just the bridge, from what I understand, had only been there maybe about 10 or 15 years.
Okay, so it was pretty much new.
Yeah, it was pretty much new for the most part. And you got to think about it. Back in those days, there wasn't a bunch of cars on the streets like it is now. You know what I mean? So it was the neighborhood. The neighborhood, growing up on 35th and Ocean View, going to school at Memorial Junior High School in the coast, graduating 9th grade, then going to Lincoln High School was two different experiences for me.
Okay, that's very interesting. I didn't know that if you lived on 35th and Ocean View that you still had to attend Memorial, which is on 30th in Ocean View.
Yeah, 35th, as a matter of fact, 36 in Ocean View was the drawing line for Memorial. Anything 36 going towards 4-1, going towards 4-7 up in Lincoln Park, all of that was considered Lincoln. That was all considered. If you lived in that particular area, you either had to go to Maryland's Junior High School, get on the bus, go to Marston Junior High School, go to Claremont High School, Lincoln High School, and the other middle school at that particular time.
Was it Gompers?
It was Gompers.
Right.
The other school was Gompers.
So you had to go to Memorial still. So you still knew all the kids over there, even though you moved over to 35th in Ocean View.
Well, let me give it to you like this. The Boys Club was the hub.
Right.
The William J. Oaks Boys Club.
Right.
The recreation center where we played basketball, the swimming pool, all at Memorial Park. At least for my brothers and I, and a couple of cousins, that was the hub. And for a lot of other homeboys that grew up in the Brims set, the William J. Oaks Boys Club was the hub. So in the summertime, some of the after-school programs, that's where we all grew up at. So it's funny because when I talk to a lot of the coasters, when I talk to Deuce, I talk to just whoever, Crazy and all of us, Big Kangaroo, a lot of the homeboys, Cheney Boy, a lot of them brothers from West Coast. We always talk about how both neighborhoods used to come together at Memorial Park and at the Boys Club and congregate. There wasn't no West Coast was LTD at the time. Central City was just starting. Central City was just starting to flourish themselves. So it wasn't no blood and no crip thing going on back in those days. And I played baseball at Memorial Park. So a lot of those brothers, like I said, a lot of those brothers end up not only being family, but becoming homeboys, like you just said, up until this day. Another thing, you got a lot of homies who end up becoming bloods that grew up right in the West Coast. And the thing about it is, a lot of them don't even want to admit it. I don't understand why. It's part of their history.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? But a majority of the original bloods that are bloods right now, it doesn't matter what set you from. A lot of brothers grew up in the coast, man. A lot of brothers went to Memorial Junior High School. A lot of brothers went through that after-school program at William J. Oaks Boys Club.
That was over in that area was was that like the first black neighborhood or one of them?
It was one of them, man. And not only that, man. Back in our days, Dre, it was just a beautiful place to grow up. You know what I mean? Me myself, I grew up as a hustler, man. Me and my brothers, we used to hustle. The Voodoo Kings Motorcycle Club was right on Ocean View, right on 37th and Ocean View. The Cobra Club was right on 40th and Boundary, where the Mountain View Recreation Center is now, tucked deep down in the canyon. So when I was a kid, I always had an affinity for being around the older brothers. And some of the brothers and sisters back in those days, some of the pimps and some of the hustlers I would make $20, $30, $40 just to run the work back and forth across the streets. Because I was a kid, and they figured, we can, hey Mike, come here. They used to call me Pimpin' Mike. Yeah, you see that? They call me Pimpin' Mike. Hey man, just to let y'all know, just a couple of fine motherfuckers just walked past. Yeah, I saw that. You dig what I'm saying? Continuing to look at it. Hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? So I used to make money, man, hustling with the hustlers. So I kind of grew up real fast. You know what I mean? I learned some things that the average 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-old shouldn't be learning, and I seen some things as well.
Right.
And it was all exciting to me. You know what I mean? So my upbringing was it not only was it a good upbringing, man. I had a ball, man. It was a hell of a learning experience. It actually shaped me into the man I am today.
Okay. Now we're gonna get into that. What shaped you? Now in '76, you say you moved to 35th and Ocean View.
35th, yeah, off of 35th and Ocean View. I'm an original Valley boy, right on Valley Street.
So Central City is already a thing at this time, right?
Yeah, Central City is already Central City. The Brims set is only 6 months to maybe 7 months to maybe a year away. You know what I'm saying? From putting on the red flags. I want to say 75. Some of the big homies. I got a couple of big homies that done told me, well, nah, Mike, you got your dates wrong. It was 74 for us, and they can tell their story. But for me, I remember 76.
76. Okay, and obviously you're not an original Central City, right? Because they're older than you.
Yeah, they older than me.
Can you name some of them?
Oh, I can. You know, shit. I can Big Jonathan Simmons, Big John Massey, who was supposed to be here today. My homeboy Big Hard Nuts, Tony Ives, Dexter Johnson, Brian Jackson, myself, Big Flip, Gangster Clarence, Gangster Phil, Donald Terry, Big George Lloyd, Ice Cube, George Lloyd little brother Dennis.
You got a homie named Ice Cube?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
That's epic.
The original Ice Cube. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, way before, because he's talking about the 70s.
Yeah, Ice Cube, Big Dennis Lloyd, George Lloyd's younger brother. There's so many that I can name. You know, some of the homeboys, you know, like Michael Myers and Kenny White, James House, and all those. You know, they really didn't represent the city. They are the original 5'9" Brimsters, the ones who brought out the flags. You know what I'm saying? Ms. Ann Clarence. Like I said, there's just too many to name. You know what I mean? So
Right. That's cool.
If I didn't name it, you dig what I'm saying? Don't get your panties in a bunch, niggas.
All right, so you move over there, and who's some of the people that you started meeting around your age that was repping Central City?
Nobody.
Nobody? They was all older?
Yeah, they was all older. Nobody my age.
Right.
You know what I mean? You know, how I got connected with the Central City set was when my mother moved over there. When we would come from the boys club in the mid, you know, you got to be home before 7, 8 o'clock before the lights come on. Me and my brothers were kind of latchkey, so once I got home and I wasn't navigating towards the east of where we was living, so one day I just said, man, let me go. I'm about to go down to this park. It ended up being Ocean View Park. My mother kept telling my brothers and I to stay away from the park. Y'all can't go down there.
So she already knew that park was dangerous at that time.
The park wasn't dangerous. The park was just a bunch of grown people. And if anything went down,
right?
You know, you can see a lot of scraps. You know, back in those days, like I said, nobody was pulling pistols. Somebody might get stabbed. Somebody might get hit in the head with a bat, a bicycle chain. A weapon of choice for a lot of the homeboys from Central City was brass knuckles. And seen a couple of homeboys have brass knuckles, those types of things, you know. But because of the activities that was going on down there, my mother would tell my brothers and I and my cousin Flint, you know, you guys stay away from the park. Now, what's going to happen when you got an inquisitive young mind like myself and your mother tell you to stay away?
You about to go see what's up with that park.
I got to go see what she's talking about.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I ended up going down Ocean View Park, and the two of the first brothers I met was Big Hardy Smith, Dexter Johnson, Mad Bob, Flip, Gangster. Shit, I just named them all. They was about 30 of them sitting up on the hill we call the baby side of Ocean View. You know, there's Ocean View Park.
Yeah, on the left hand side.
On the left hand side,
yeah.
up on the bathroom. That's where we originally hung out. That was our hub because we could see anything. If somebody coming from Market Street, I don't know if you guys was hoodsters yet. But if they was coming from
in '76,
yeah. But if they was coming from the hood, or sometime the coasters would walk up Imperial and try to sneak down the back way. So we was patrolling that area. That's the back. That was the back. That's the hub.
Quick question. At this time, was Shelltown around?
Goddamn right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they predate Central City?
They do. They do.
Okay.
Shelltown been around. I think they was established, I want to say, like in the early 60s.
Oh, okay.
They've been around for a long time.
All right.
You know, if not the 50s.
All right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
So you went up there, you saw.
I went up there, ran into my homeboy Dexter Johnson, and what I think for Dexter was because I used to like to get dressed, and I was just this little dude, had on some jeans, some biscuits. I'm dressing like the people that I see at the motorcycle clubs. So National Dollar Store is right in the neighborhood in Auto Square, and they were selling Wallabies, Crocus Sacks, Chucks.
Is it Lee's Menwear?
No, Lee's Menwear was next door. It was National Dollar Store. Lee's Menwear was right there. That's where you got the jeans and the corduroys from. And then National Dollar Store was right there, right next door. That's where you go and get your golf hats, your Wallabies. They sold Nikes and all that type of shit. So
What, like Cortez or something
yeah, like
else?
the old school Cortezes and all those types of things, you know. And yeah, and I used to like to get
I wonder
dressed.
why they got rid of shit like that in our communities.
Man.
Shut shit down.
It's,
Oh.
yeah.
All open.
And Mario's, huh?
Well,
The
you
bigger
know,
stores.
No, because some of these stores had already shut down before some of those places had already opened up. You got to think about it. A lot of these stores were black owned. You understand what I'm saying? And then when the big investors start coming in wanting to take over these spaces, they bought the brothers and sisters who owned these record stores. My homeboy Randy Butler, original 5'9" Brimster, his daddy owned a record store up in Auto Square. So they came, other than at the time the grocery store, which they ended up turning into a Mexican theme like store. That store,
Yeah, what is it? Is it Food Land?
Food Palace.
Food Palace.
So Food Palace and O'Reilly's, which used to be a name something else at that time, those were the only two stores left standing from a lot of the old stores that you talking about, Ras. So and back to my thing with the homeboys, I just happen to see everybody is on the park down here, but then you got this group of brothers sitting up here all by themselves. They got on leather jackets, khaki suits, brims. You know, I'm up there.
He like, that's who she told me to stay away from.
That's
Them right there.
Them motherfuckers right there. Excuse my French. I know YouTube is tripping. So, so like I did, I slide up over there, and hung around a couple of times. The first couple of times, a couple of the older homies. To this day, one of them has passed away. Rest in peace, Big Phil. They would tell me, hey, little bruh, slide on.
Right.
Go that way. You know what I mean? And next day, try it again. Hey man, go on, man. Get on back over that way. At about the third or fourth try, Dexter Johnson said, hey man, come here, man. Let me holler at you, little brother. I roll up there and start hollering at him. Hey, what's your name, man? My name is Mike. You know what I'm saying? Why you trying to come up here and kick it with us, man? It ain't nothing but thugs, killers. He's saying something to me. Slick and he's saying something to me, Slick, and we get to talking, and he said, man, why don't you run down to the Ocean View liquor store, man, and see if you can grab us a 6-pack of King Cobra. I'm only 10 years old. You know what I mean? I'm like, I can't buy no beer. He said, man, just go in there and tell Uncle Louie that I gave you the money. I do. I run down to the store, tell Uncle Louie in the store, hey, the guy Dexter wanted me to buy this beer. He put the beer in the bag. I handed him the money and shit. He told me to go out the back way. So the store, inside the liquor store, they had a back room where they kept all the inventory and a door that go out the back. He didn't want me to go out the front with the beer. You know what I mean? So I slide out the store, take the beer back to the homie, and he give me one.
Now I'm just as lost as the viewers, because as you know, I ain't never been in that store. I didn't driven past it. I ain't never been inside that store.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to picture it myself.
Well, what you do, as soon as you walk in that store, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to take you in there one day. As soon as you go in the store,
man, I'm good. I'm good, homie.
Skype me.
Yeah. They're gonna be mad at you for bringing me.
They not, them brothers over there really ain't tripping. You got a lot of good homies in the neighborhood, and they not tripping like that. You know, maybe them youngsters, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
Oh, no, you ain't got to be worried about
On
that.
all sides. The youngsters is the ones that got no common sense.
True. But like I said, with me, you ain't got to worry about that. And so anyhow,
They probably rubbing their hands like Birdman right now. They're like, bring it.
So when you go, okay, let's say you go in the store. You know, as soon as you go in a lot of these Chaldean stores, the potato chip section is already right there.
Right.
Slide this way, the counter right here, all right where the counter is at, all the beer dispensaries are right here. And then if you go into the counter to buy a beer, there's a little gate thing that you can open up that Uncle Louis used to open up for us when the police would be chasing us. And he'd open that up and we would go in there and we would hide out in the back where his inventory was at while the police was out in the front, you know, sweating people.
Right.
And there's a door right there. The door leads to a like a backyard, and the homeboy Jerome house was right next door. So as soon as he let me out the thing, he tell me, you go that way, go out the gate right there. So if there was police out in the front, I'm already on the side of the street walking down Millbrae. So walking down Millbrae, you make that right there on Franklin, it takes you right straight to the Central City side of the park.
Okay, yeah, I know. My homie lived on Franklin.
Right.
So I know that's that first street.
Right. So that take you right to the Central City side of the of Ocean View Park. So I walked down that way. Dexter gave me a King Cobra, man. I drunk the King Cobra. And before you know it, it was 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. I'm up there hanging with the homies. And
Wait, real fast, not to cut you off, but I was having a conversation the other day with Cartoon. Shout out Cartoon 5 Trey. Go subscribe to his channel. And he was talking about how back in the days, a lot of their liquor stores was owned by Asians. Why in San Diego did the Chaldeans always have like a stronghold, and Mexicans, but Chaldeans got a stronghold on our liquor stores?
Well, let me tell you this. First of all, shame on us as black people, because a lot of these liquor stores was owned by black people. The last one that stood standing for a long time was Howes, right there.
Right.
In Canto.
On 69th.
On 69th. So what happened was, when the Chaldeans started migrating from their country over to here, they dropped them off in Detroit, Michigan. According to my homeboy Jim, who he and I end up becoming my best friend, he ended up owning Chuck's and 38th in the neighborhood off of National Chuck's, right there off of 38th.
Yep.
They dropped them off in Detroit, Minnesota, some of these other places. They all migrated out here out west, and he from what he told me, all they did was apply for loans. The government gave them loans. That loan money, they went in and told them brothers, look, we got this money, we give y'all a meal for this, blah, blah, blah. Back in those days, you know, $1 million to buy your store and to go somewhere and relocate was easy for brothers to do. Now, what some of the brothers that owned those liquor stores back in those days, Mr. Paulo, Neil Petty's, who else? There's another brother on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of his name, but he just passed about 6 years ago. But anyway, they sold out for the paper, man, and they got paid a lot of money for those stores. But now that I know the things that I know,
yeah,
the money that they got back then, it wasn't.
Them people didn't made way more than that.
Oh, come on,
yeah,
man, two times over. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You know, and it's a messed up thing, is that we as brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, we tend to sell out our neighborhoods for money, man. It's a very backwards concept, you understand what I mean? But, you know, you got a lot of brothers and sisters, you know what I'm saying, that's all they see is the money, man, and it's very unfortunate.
Right. That's why we losing everywhere, because all we see is money and everybody else see long term. We was just talking about these houses behind us. How many black people you think live over here? Probably two.
Mm-hmm.
Man, That's crazy.
And if he was able to turn the camera, y'all out there in YouTube land would be able to see what we're talking about. These is multi-million-dollar homes.
Don't worry, when we done, I'll make a quick short and you can explain
right
about these homes right here.
You know what I mean? So don't get it twisted. We gangsters, you know what I'm saying? But San Diego, sitting on the gold mine.
Right, and y'all can see downtown in the background.
America's finest.
Right. But so you went back up there. You drunk the King Cobra. It's about 8 o'clock at night.
It's about 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. Drunk the King Cobra. So they had cars, Chevys, Lacs, and all those types of things, Rivieras on the side of the park. They're about to bounce. So Big John Massey and Dexter say they just pimping Mike. That was my first game banging name. I ain't never pimped nothing. So they call me Pimpin' Mike. Come on, man, you come roll with us. So roll with Dexter and John. We go to Dexter's house. Dexter lived at that time on Superba Street, right there across the street from Imperial, right where the graveyard is at. So get over to Dexter's house, man. We kicking and having a good time. Mind you, the people that's there, I don't even know them, ain't never met them. But Dexter had 3 sisters. Every last one of them was fine, and all they friends was over there. You dig? So then me, being the pervert that I was as a little kid, and I was enjoying just being around all these beautiful sisters. You dig what I'm saying? And kicking it with Dexter was always an adventure, because even at 10 years old, that's when I was introduced seeing them dipping them cigarettes and holding it up with that bull, with that crap running down, and that was the first time I seen somebody get wet, run up and down the street butt naked. Man, all that was exciting to me.
Man, so for my viewers, you should know what he talking about. Butt naked, water, Sherm, PCP. That's the first time he said he saw it. Now, this around 76, 77. He said you.
I want to say about 7. I want to say a year after we moved into the neighborhood, so about 77 going into 78.
All right, so big country. Originally from LA, no, from Texas.
Yeah, originally from Texas. If you look at, Kev Mack did a nice extension.
Yeah, I seen it.
On that, you know what I mean? And him being from Texas, went to LA after Little Country got killed, came down here to San Diego. In Kev's video, it says that he moved down here. But from what my recollection is, from my recollection, he came down in the Rummy House Probation Department program. So now I kind of got to go back and ask some questions to make sure that information is accurate.
Well, I don't know if you've seen Lil Lady Country on Kev Mack.
I did. I saw some of it.
That's Lil Country's baby mama.
Right.
She said that they lived out here. She said that she was living with their parents, I believe.
Yeah.
Because she was pregnant with his baby.
She was pregnant with his baby. They stayed on 41st and Nash.
Yeah, so they family did live. Now, maybe they followed him. Maybe he was in the program and they moved out here to be closer to him, but they did live out here.
Yeah. That's and that particular information I wasn't too privy to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So but
and they actually moved to the hood first.
They moved to the hood first. Then they moved to the hood first. Then the 4-1 National by Southcrest Park.
All right, now I'm not gonna get too much into when he moved to the hood, because I have hollered at Marvin Miller, an original, and he's gonna tell his own story and his encounters with country and when he met Donnie and all that. So he lived in the hood for a while. Don't know how long he lived there before he migrated. It seemed like he was in the hood around 74. So he had to have been out here for some years.
Yeah.
Because if he made it over there by 77, he had to...
76.
76?
Yeah.
Okay.
76.
So who did he connect with, and what was the driving force behind y'all saying, okay, we're gonna be Brims? Because from what the homie told me, he wasn't necessarily trying to turn the homies into Brims. He used to just tell them stories like as if they would get, you know, fascinated and be like, oh, we want to be one of them. Like he wasn't pressing like y'all should be.
Nah. That, you know, the thing was, you know, Country used to always hit the punching bag in the gym.
They said he used to work out too. That's where the homies used to go to his house at.
Yeah, he used to hit the Country used to hit the punching bag, kick the bag, and back in those days you had quite a few homeboys that was in the martial arts. But I know for a fact that Country became real tight with Michael Myers. Michael Myers is one of the originalist 5'9" Brimses in the town, rest in peace. And him, James House, Big Kenny White, we call him the Silent One, and many others. They all became cool. Now, everybody has their different stories of when he came, when he left, and all. I can't really get into that because I was still a little bit younger, and I only met Country like 2 or 3 times. And so some of that history is so sporadic, you know what I'm saying? So just from my recollection and from what I do know, I know that he was way cool with Michael Myers and K-Dub and a couple other brothers, you know what I'm saying? How they started the 5'9" Brim set, the ones that was actually there when it started, they gonna have to speak on that. I was there when it started, but I wasn't there when they had the conversation.
Right. You was too young. You just was hanging around at the time.
Right.
Okay, so do you remember at what point that they was like, was it a meeting or did they just, we Brims now? Like, for you to be from Central City one day, and then the next day you go up to the park and they like, this what it is now.
And the Central City homeboys was still Central City. We still kept it Central City. You know
that was a gradual thing?
Yeah, that was a gradual. That didn't happen overnight. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, but one thing that I did appreciate about the homies, there was no infighting about it. You know what I'm saying? Central City didn't go into the neighborhood and say, well, nah, we ain't accepting this, you know what I mean? Because everybody was too close knit. You know what I mean? So, you know, for me, as soon as I seen a red flag, I picked up one. As soon as I seen some of the homies wearing them, I picked up one as well.
Did y'all have a color before?
Black.
Black okay.
Flags.
All right.
Yeah.
Black. So you gradually just started seeing red flags up at Ocean View Park.
Some of the first homies I seen wearing red flags was Hardy Smith, Michael Myers, Clarence, Gangster Phil. All them is original Central City gangsters. So when they start wearing the red flags, everybody else just follows suit.
Right.
You know, Tony Aldridge, he was the first one I seen would have one on his head, 2 in his black pocket, 1 around his neck. You know what I mean? I'm like, this brother going crazy. You know what I'm saying? Monster J. You know what I'm saying? Gang, my homeboy Big Jim, his brother Michael Lee. You know, Big Keith George, rest in peace. Jonathan George, that's Jonathan George's brother. Jonathan George, if you look at the Baba Louie interview that Melly did, Baba Louie specifically tells us that him and Big Jonathan George penned the blood moniker in YTS.
I remember him saying he was naming the people, because when you saying that name, I'm like, that sound familiar. I remember him saying that certain people took it back to their areas, and he said Jonathan George took it back to San Diego.
Took it back to San Diego.
He did say that.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so here in San Diego, it was the 5'9" Brim set that pinned the actual original blood moniker here in San Diego. And I ain't got to tell no, everybody know that the Brims was the first blood set in San Diego.
Right.
So, so with that being said, when it comes to the red flag and the moniker blood, it was just, when I seen Dexter Johnson and Hardy Smith with their red flags, it was an automatic for me. And by this time, I had already stopped hanging out in the coast with my homies from the coast. All my time was starting to be spent with these brothers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a couple of you motherfuckers from the coast. Y'all know who y'all is. When y'all got the, okay, Mike, you know, I started having to run a lot of heads up behind that red flag because of my affiliation with the original West Coast set. You know, as a youngster, you know what I mean? And I did it with no problem. You know what I mean? So, you know, you guys, some of y'all know who you is. You know what I mean? And a couple of y'all was good with your hands. I give you a little bit of credit. You know what I'm saying? But from back in those days, we had a lot of heads up fights, and I was a willing participant in a whole lot of them.
Okay, so all of this is going on at Ocean View Park. What's going on at South Crest Park, which is literally down the street?
Same thing.
It was a different crowd of.
No, it was all the same homies.
So y'all hung out both parks?
We hung out at both parks.
All right.
You know, so that basement Ocean View, that's them youngsters, man. I don't me myself, I never differentiated from the sides.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm concerned, I always had two parks that I was affiliated with.
When did you start hearing people saying that, like basement and Ocean View?
When the homeboys, when Smitty Bowe and Cougar and some of the homeboys on that side started the Gangster player thing with the burgundy and gold flag.
That was my next topic.
You know what I'm saying?
That was exactly what I was about to get to.
They came out with the they had the burgundy, they had the burgundy and gold flags. They would wear the burgundy khaki suits, would put the burgundy letters on the back, and it would say Gangster player, original basement or alley boys, and then it would have the 5'9" Brims up under that.
All right, so because Lil CS, shout out to Lil CS, he just spoke on the Playboy thing that was going on in San Diego at that time. They was PBI. Emerald Hills was the Bunny Boys, and then y'all had Gangster players, so it was all like some Playboy stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? What year would you give Gangster players, and who was the inspiration behind that? What was the point of them doing that when y'all was already Brims?
You got to think about it, Dre. Y'all know him as Hoodie Hood. I know him as Dre. So the thing is, my brother, it's you know, in every neighborhood, you're gonna always get a few brothers that's gonna click off from time to time.
Right.
That's a given. You know what I mean? My homies, you know, they were gangster players. They were gangsters, but you know, we liked the women. I never really fell up under the gangster player umbrella. It was always Central City of 5'9" for me.
Right.
But me and Smitty Bowe was best friends. You know what I'm saying? And you know, the McGowan brothers and Faux Hog, the Hog, all the Hogs. They call themselves the Hog. We just call them the Hog family because it was about 17 of them. J Hog, M Hog, who else? K Hog. You know, they were all Hogs. It would be the first initial of their name, then Hog,
right,
with 2 G's. And I want to say them brothers probably started that, man. I want to say in like 82, 83 maybe. You know what I'm saying? I think that's when it really started.
Right.
That's when it really started.
It seemed like that whole Playboy influence was in them early 80s.
It was, you know, you know, I would even, you know, I always wore a black golf hat with the white, over here, man. What's that? All right, you guys be good. All right, take care, man. You did a good job.
Good dude right here. Great interview. Great interview.
Yeah. So like I want to say between 82 and 83, and like I said, I had a hat that I had made. I had a black hat made and had it, and they stitched a red bunny rabbit on the front of it. You know what I mean? And I wish I still had that golf hat. You know what I mean? But you're right. And I think all the sis, the Lincoln Park boys had their little thing going. You know what I'm saying, with the bunny rabbit as well. You know what I mean? I think
I didn't know that.
Everybody was being players. You know what I'm saying, and not necessarily just out there gang banging and effing up. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think about those days. The proliferation of black people in San Diego was, I think, during those days and during those years was at an all-time high. I mean, San Diego, I mean, you can just walk out your house and you can see a fine sister You know, I mean, every neighborhood had they females.
Speaking of neighborhood, I got a question for the homies. Why y'all wasn't no players, man? It don't sound like the homies was players, man. It don't sound like they knew what a player was till they met me. Nah, I'm playing. But it seemed like everybody else was on their player smooth tip. And the homies could have been, but as far as like a clique or, you know what I mean, like a...
And that's what it was. It was just like
a branch off.
Just a branch off, and not branching off from the set, but just like, okay, we're gonna be players over here.
Right.
You know, we're gonna be, you know, we decide we hustlers over here, whatever the thing. Me myself, I was more of a hustler because I liked the money. When I was a young man, you know what I'm saying, I hustled, man. I had money, man. I was able to do certain things that the average 13, 14, and 15-year-old was never able to do. You know what I'm saying? So, some of those things, we went, the Palisades skating ring was right here. So, that was the hub for all neighborhoods. And, because, you go to Palisades skating ring, you're going to be able to bust you a fine little honey. But at that Palisades skating ring, you're going to definitely have your heads up.
And that's how you get the females. You whoop on somebody.
Exactly. You know what I mean? You're going to have Friday and Saturday night. So I'm talking about it. I went to the Palisades skating ring for 6 years straight, Friday and Saturday nights faithfully. And there wasn't one time that there wasn't a heads up in that alley off the side of the skating ring or in front of the skating ring every time that I went.
What year did they close that down?
They closed the skating ring down in '83.
Oh, okay, so they closed that down early.
It was a sad day for San Diego, man. I cried.
What was the reason for it? Was it the gang violence?
No, man, they just the owner sold the property, man, so they can build the townhomes, the condos that are there now.
Was it black owned?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
Not that I know of.
That's crazy. So what's going on around this time, around this gangster player area, pretty much the early 80s to the mid 80s? What's going on in San Diego by this time?
Well, at that particular time, man, when '84 hit, man, and when '84 hit, we were already selling powder. You know what I'm saying? They hadn't really introduced the cooking it up yet. And
hold on, my bad. I tripped out. This is why I don't smoke weed like that. Look, when I gotta ask you about some of these other hoods, and when's the first time? Because y'all being the original Don Moose set, when is the first time you heard of Lincoln Park or Skyline, or you know what I mean?
Lincoln Park is the original Pyro set in San Diego, and they was Lincoln Park Pyro first. Then something happened where they switched it up to Lincoln Park Schoolyard, and then just basically Lincoln Park Bloods. And Lincoln Park, a lot of the G's from Lincoln Park was fucking with the homies up at the set. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna let them speak on their history, but some of them was original Brims, man. You know what I mean? And
would you say they're a branch off of? Because I know they was Paul Lowe's.
Yeah, they was Paul Lowe Patrol. I'm not gonna say they was a branch off the Brims because Lincoln Park, they was already in their neighborhood and had their thing going. So I don't want to say that, that there was a branch off from the Brims. You know what I mean? But a couple of their G's were original 5'9" Brimses, and I don't know who came first. Lincoln Park came before Skyline, from what I can remember.
Is that just the first ones you met?
Yeah. I think it was,
because that's gonna be a very controversial statement that Lincoln Park was the first Pyrus in Dago.
Well, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? From my recollection, they was the first. They were the original Pyrus. Then Skyline took it and ran with it. And Skyline, when they took it, I think Skyline, I want to say Skyline hit in 78, 79. I'm not sure, but I think all the sets start hitting together. They start all coming out around the same time.
Now, do you know where the Pyro influence may have came from to make Lincoln Park?
That's their business.
All right. All right. So you said about 78, 79, they all started like
All the sets
springing up.
Yeah, started springing up. Everybody.
Now, would you say that the reason for them doing that was just because they were already anti-Crip? Because if Skyline was Hang Gang, Lincoln Park was Paul Lowe's. Did y'all have a relationship? Y'all probably had a relationship with the Paul Lowe's as opposed to the Hang Gang.
We definitely had a relationship with Lincoln Park. We had a damn good relationship with the Parksters, and you know, Skyline, you know, a lot of the original Skyline brothers was my homeboys, baby. Danny Nay. I mean, all them brothers. Will. I mean, Flintstone. I mean, name it. You know what I'm saying? All the original Skyline boys, they was the homies. Them brothers. You know, I was kind of proud of them when they came out, just like I was with Lincoln Park, Emerald Hills, and all the rest of them. You know, because, you know, back in the days with the Brims being the only blood set, you know, between the hood and the coast, man, at that particular time, the Crips had outnumbered everybody.
And that's why we was fighting each other.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what the hood and coast, what that beef was about, but I just know that the original beef that I remember was the hood and 5'9". They would go at it all the time. You get into some things with the coasters, but because 5'9" and the coast grew up together.
Yeah, y'all was intertwined.
We was intertwined.
Yeah.
So you know, you would still get you a few heads up with some, you know, you had some coasters and you had some Brimsters that was just, fuck it, this is Brims, or fuck it, this is West Coast. I don't give a fuck if we grew up. You had some of that stuff going on. But our original beef, our original beef at that particular, going back in those days, had started with some of the hoosters, man.
Right, and it sounded like it was the same with West Coast. It was pretty much, from what I heard, it was just pretty much that they was deeper than us, and they, you know, will push their weight around when the homies are being parties with them.
Yeah, they did. They
you know what I mean? So that's pretty much like, we ain't no suckers. We not finna take it.
Yeah.
That's pretty much from what I heard. It was nothing more than that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Until homies start going to YA in prison, like, hey, bro, like, Crips ain't supposed to fight Crips, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this is still the 70s.
And I'm glad that you brought that particular point up, because me myself, I grew up under a different ideology. And the blood on blood crime was unthinkable. You know, the way that the things are now is, you know, it's just really messed up, man. When I was growing up, if you was from Lincoln Park or Skyline or Emerald Hills or Little Africa, I didn't give a fuck about that. You was a blood. So I didn't have no beef with none of, you know. And then somewhere along the line, it just, you know, everybody wanted to be able to say that they said it's the toughest.
Right.
Let me tell y'all something. Here in San Diego, ain't no set the toughest, because we done lost so many good brothers on both sides of the track. Ain't one set in San Diego tougher than the other one, man. Because this is the thing. You can be a tough motherfucker, man, but if you get caught slipping, that's your ass.
That part. Okay, so do you know around what year, and they could tell they own, what year did you start hearing Lincoln Park not say Pyru no more? Because if y'all tight with them, so y'all function with them, when did you hear them start just saying Bloods?
I don't know. I want to say like still in the 70s.
In the 70s?
Yeah, like in the late 70s or early, maybe 80.
So it seemed like they wasn't Pyru that long.
Nah, not that long. Nah.
Maybe 2 years, 3 years,
yeah,
something
well,
like
I'm
that.
gonna let them speak on that.
Yeah.
I just know that they was the original Pyru set. If anybody want to get mad about it, they can get mad. I'm just speaking the history. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody's set. I don't mean no disrespect to nobody's hood. I don't mean no individual respect. But from my recollection, you know what I'm saying? From my recollection, you know what I mean? Lincoln Park was the first ones. You know what I'm saying? So, you know.
Right, and everybody gonna get a chance to tell their side of the story.
Right.
So, you played a lot of sports.
Yeah.
That's where you got the name.
Yeah.
What sports did you play, and who named you that?
I played baseball and football, and I boxed. And damn, that's a good question. You know, my younger brother Melly named me Ball Game. He named me Pro Ball. I dropped the Pro Ball, and now it's Ball Game. But my younger brother named me Pro Ball Game because when I was playing baseball and football at Lincoln High School, I would come home with my bats, come home with my helmet, and all those things. And my brother would kind of, you know, mark me a little bit. Pro Ball, you know, you think you're going to the pros, and you know that type. I think that's how it came about. Because my original name was Pimpin' Mike.
All right, so why they kind of deep over there?
I told you, didn't I tell you? Yeah, man. See that one, man? She seen them motherfuckers, you know what I mean?
Hey, Pimpin' Mike creeping up out of you right now. I seen the way you was looking when she walked by. All right, so you was playing sports. You told a story on the Hood Postman Melly Mel's channel about, you know, you talk about a lot of hand gods. You told a fight about a hand god from my section and a hand god from, I believe, your section.
No, from Lincoln, from Central City, but he's an original Lincoln.
All right, and that was on the Four Corners.
That was right in front of the taco shop. That was Big Reggie Booker and Trade Off. And let me tell you something, man. I done seen a lot of fight. Another good fight I seen was with David Pittman and another homie from our neighborhood. I can't think of the brother from, was it Boss Man? I can't think of the brother from the hood, man. But back in those days, I seen a lot of good fights, been involved in a lot of fights, man. But that fight was a thrill in the middle, man. It was like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, coming from Monica and BB and them from a birthday party, and I was with my older cousin Teeny at the time. And
what year was this?
That was in '78.
78.
And I remember that like it happened just yesterday, because my cousin kept telling us, y'all get behind the couch, because the fight started in the front room. It was a house party. So the fight started, but when the fight started, it was a gang of people fighting. And now that I think about it, Skyline was out, because there was a lot of Skyline boys across the street at the time, because I remember they was flamed up. And it was a bunch of hoodsters, a bunch of coasters, some Lincoln Park homies, and the Brims. It was just a, and they got the chunk of them, man, and we was able to get up out the house, walk up the street, and when we walking up the street, there's a lot of people in the middle of the four corners, in front of the four corners. So we get up there, my cousin Teeny, making sure that me and my cousin Flynn is protected at the time. Y'all kneel down behind this car. Do not move, because if somebody starts shooting, you guys would be kneel down behind this car. So we did what she asked us to do, kneel down behind the car, and all I seen was this tall motherfucker, this little short motherfucker with arms and shit. And I mean, you could hear, you can just hear the punches. I'm like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? And me being a little dude that's inquisitive, I all of that lean behind the car, that wasn't even,
right.
I'm trying to see what's happening, but it was them two brothers, man. And they got out for at least 3 or 4 minutes. That's a long
That's
time.
a long fight.
Yeah.
Especially consistently throwing them.
Yes, consistently throwing them, you dig? So that one, that was, and to this day, I can't even tell you who won. You know what I mean? You know, so, you know, and there was a lot of fights, like, there was fights, man, where the heads up, you know, we used to call it back in the days, if me and you chunk them heads up, and can't nobody decipher who won, the homies would say, oh, that was a stick. So that mean that was a stick. That mean they both got out equally. You know what I mean? And if somebody was still mad, next time I see this person, we might have to do it again. And there was a lot of that. there was a lot of that going on back in those days. Because back in those days, they would set up heads ups. Heads ups used to be set up. They used to be scheduled.
Yeah, it seemed like everybody used to walk to each other's hood and squabble up.
Yeah, squabble up. You know, and then then sometimes you had sometimes you had the shit starters who would go to the hoods and start some crap and get chased out of somebody's hood. And then after that, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna let them two neighborhoods talk on their beef, but the shooting really started. You know what I'm saying?
I swear that was my next question. I was gonna say when did the gunplay start and what?
The gunplay started between West Coast and Skyline. And when that beef took off, there was no turning back from that.
Now, who was the first person that from your section that you could say y'all lost? Like, do you remember y'all first homie and what year that was?
Well, not to know.
You know, cause everybody, it hit everybody's section differently, different years. Like we lost our first, I think, 2 homies in '81.
Right.
But homies said that it was gunplay prior to that. Nobody had died.
Right.
Either they would get shot at and they would miss, or people would get shot and they would live. '81 is when we started losing homies.
To another set. That's a good question, man, because I don't remember the Brims losing nobody in no gunplay. You know what I'm saying? And the first person that did pass on me to some gunplay was my homeboy Terry Clemens, and we was both 15 years old. You know what I mean? So
But was that gang related or something else?
Yeah, it was something else, man. It was gang related because the dude, it wasn't gang related, but the dude who did it lived over across the bridge somewhere. They ended up getting the dude, prosecuting him. He ended up doing time. I don't know if he's still locked up or not. But he shot my homeboy, man, and my homeboy died a week later, man.
So he wasn't from the coast?
No.
Did he end up being from the coast?
No.
Oh,
he was just an older brother that just lived over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He wasn't that so. But gang related, I can't recall. Be honest with you, because like I said, we wasn't shooting and killing. We really wasn't doing that. You know, there really wasn't too much of that going. But I'm trying to think in my head, who was the first person that we lost in a shooting? Let me get back to you on that.
Right.
I can't think of nobody who the first one was.
Do you remember when the first time it started hitting your area? Like when y'all would be at the park or whatever, and now people shooting at y'all?
Yeah, it started in like about 81, 82.
Around that same time?
Yeah, we would be sitting on Ocean View hustling. Somebody come through. They say back in those days, motherfuckers wasn't smart, so they had thought they said this is something West Coast, this neighborhood or wherever they was from, and get the lack.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, so it started for us in 81, and then especially because it was Ocean View. You got the freeway right there, you got the coast right here, you got the hood. We surrounded by Crips. Other than going, once you start going past 47, then we got Lincoln Park. We got our allies over here. I just can't remember, us losing somebody, but I will say I lost my younger brother, you know what I'm saying, to gang banging. I know that a young brother was only 20 years old, 21 years old, who shot and killed my brother. You know what I mean? My brother was 41 years old, sick, just had a stroke, could barely walk, got caught in between some crossfire, man.
Yeah, man, that always tripped me out when somebody made it through them 80s and 90s when it was worse, and then you grown, probably got grandkids, and get killed years down the line by a young dude. And that's what I was saying about going over it. You don't know about these young dudes where they mind is at. They on some other shit.
Right.
So even though I might be on some I'm not tripping, you know what I mean? You don't know what the next man doing, so you always got to stay dangerous wherever you go.
You know, I stay dangerous, but you know, I hate to because I literally have an infinity, man. I hate gang banging, man, because it deprives me of having so many friends, so many other friendships. That's all that did, man. You know, had I not been involved in gang banging, I could have had a whole bunch of friends over in the hood, a whole bunch of friends over in East Dago, a whole bunch of friends up in Linda Vista, a whole bunch of friends in the coast, which I still do.
Right.
But you know what I'm saying?
It definitely limits you.
It limits you. It's bullshit. It's, you know, and that's like, you know, like you say, you know, I'm not going over there, man. Look, I went, and you don't have to, because you got to think of your safety first. But my thing is, I would never compromise somebody's safety. Second, you know, I feel that where I'm at in my life, man, I should be able to go wherever the fuck I want to go. If I get killed doing it, you dig what I'm saying, and it was already in his plan. You know what I'm saying? I go wherever I go, and when I go, I come in peace. I don't never go to nobody. I'm never disrespecting nobody, because we are living in the times where you would get this punk ass who's a mark, but would blow your noodles out.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I don't, you know, I feel, you know, like Bandana the Rag hit me up the other night, and they want some pictures. They building the Hub City up in Compton. They trying to build this big old studio where rappers and producers can get together, people that are creators, content creators, all those stuff, can get together and do things in peace without having to worry about getting killed and all these things. And when I first talked to the brother who's initiating all this, Stan Shepard, you know, through Melly Mel from Santana. What's up, homie? The brother, I'm going up there to have a sit down with them. They want some pictures so that they can put my picture in the building when it's finished. And I'm from San Diego.
Right. But that, I swear, you keep, it's like you know what I'm gonna say next. That brings me to my next topic. You got family from Compton, and you actually went to school in Compton for a little bit.
My older brother did.
Oh, your older brother did.
My older brother Levan graduated from Compton High School. You know what I mean? So in the summer times, me and my brother would go up there, kick it with him. So I was very familiar with the Compton streets. Then my uncle stayed on Hatchaway, right on the corner. Everybody know that street, because that is Fruittown, Piru. That is the hub. You know what I mean? So during the summer times, when I was 13, 14, and 15, and would go up to Compton, you know, I would hang out with a lot of the young brothers who are now Fruittown. They were young. We were all kids back in those days.
Right.
But a lot of those brothers are now original Fruittown Piru.
So they never tried to recruit you?
Nah, it wasn't even that thing, because my cousin Stanley, you know what I'm saying? Not Stanley Pitts, my cousin Stanley Stewart, is originally from Fruittown, Piru, and he's a G to this day. He's 64 years old. He would never, and the respect that he had in his neighborhood, you know what I'm saying? We couldn't come off the porch in Compton.
Right, but going up there, I'm quite sure you seen like it was a lot of activity going on. Did they know where you was from?
Yeah, at the time, no, unless I told them. You know what I'm saying? My aunt would tell us, you know, y'all can ride your bikes from here to there. Do not cross over to there. And at the time, they was extremely adamant about it, because back in Compton, one summer I was in Compton, man, I remember, I want to say about 3 or 4 brothers got killed in less than 2 weeks, and my mama sent for me and my brother to come back home.
They said, hell nah.
You know, so I got a slight history with Compton, you know what I mean? But all my memories and everything that I did in Compton was positive.
So you said your brother went to Compton High. Was your brother from Brims?
No, my brother's a non-affiliate.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that had to be rough going to Compton High.
Yeah, but my brother's a non-affiliate, man.
All right, that's cool.
Look at that.
She got that done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, look, they looking too. Look. Nah, so where we at with it? Oh, boom.
My comment.
All right. You end up going to the pen though.
Yeah.
What year did you end up going to prison, and what case was that, and how long was that?
Yeah, I went to prison in '87, and I went to prison on. Well, I got investigated for a popping, and they could never get me on that case. But when they did the investigation, like I said, I was a hustler. So me and my cousin Dizone, a couple other people, we had several apartments, but they knew the one that we stayed in. The Babylons came and kicked down the door. I had a warrant for my arrest. I didn't know, because if I had known I had a warrant for my arrest, especially with the activities that I was doing, the money I was getting at the time, I'd have went and turned myself in to keep from them coming kicking down the doors, which they did. They ended up kicking down the doors. The police stayed kicking down my mama's door with shit me and my brothers, me and Melly and Fat Daddy was doing. And they kicked down the door, man, and I want to say I had about 14 ounces hard. I had another half a bird soft. They got me for like 9 racks, 2 pistols, you know. And back in those days, they wasn't giving 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years for that type of stuff. They gave me 3 years. After 3 years, I did 17 months. You know what I mean? I started in Chino. No, I went to Chino, was on the Laguna yard for a 90-day out, and I fucked up. I got into a heads up with a brother from, I got into a heads up fight with a brother from Raymond. So I fucked up my 90-day out. Caught a 115. When I go back to court, the judge is like, well, looks here, Mr. Suckers, Mr. Singletary, like, you know, we gave you a chance to see if we was gonna put you on probation, but you know, the prison write-up was bad,
Right.
because I had 2 115s because I was in their bank on the Chino. I was with my homeboy Mizan, Smokey Johnson, rest in peace, Big Conrad from Skyline, Pool Roof from Skyline, my homeboy Bahati from the set, a couple other brothers from Little Africa, and then I met about 10 or 15 brothers from Anthony's Park. Lil Tommy was my homeboy. I'm trying to find him to this day. I'm hoping that he's all right. But Lil Tommy was a rider. He's from Anthony's Park, and he and I was bunkies. And I came back. My probation report was fucked up. So they sent me. So they sentenced me. They revoked the suspended sentence and sent me back. Went through Chino again, and then went up to Soledad. Stayed in Soledad for about 6 months. They brought me down from Soledad to Jamestown to go to fire camp. That was a bad idea because it was open doors. I was chunking them in there. So I was chunking them in there, and they ended up sending me to the Tuolumne yard at Jamestown, which was level 4 lockdown.
They had a level 4 back then?
They would bring the level 4s to the Tuolumne yard lockdown until they could transfer them.
Oh, so it was like
It was like a shoe program.
Right.
It was like a shoe, and I mean, when I was in there, that's when it got real for me, because it was 23, 24, it was 23 down, an hour out. You know what I mean? And it was nothing but killers up in there, man.
And was that a culture shock to you, going and seeing that outside of San Diego, it's a lot of Crips?
It especially in Chino.
Right, that's why you was fighting, huh?
Goddamn right. But coming down, but not only that, but coming down that hall, and you in Chino West, going down the hallways is real long. I mean, they like these real big hallways.
Yeah, I know. I've been there.
Oh, you been there?
Yeah.
So, them niggas, Crip. I mean, nigga, where you from, cuz? They knew where we was from because the police would always, I think the police used to do this on purpose. They would march the Bloods in small batches and have us and have 3 or 4 police with us. So all of the Rips knew who we were.
Exactly, because y'all getting escorted.
Yeah, we getting escorted, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, and then on your paperwork, they asked me when I went, I was only 21. I was only 21 years old. And when I went, they asked me, are you gang affiliated? Yes. What's that? 5'9". Stamp, blah, stamp that paperwork. And then they end up putting you with your peoples. You know what I'm saying? So it not only, that's a good question, man. I'm glad you asked it. It was a culture shock. And anybody who ever went through that hallway, I don't give a damn how gangster you is, how tough you is. If you go through there the first time, there ain't too many motherfuckers that's gonna be able to tell me that they wasn't scared, that they wasn't nervous. You understand what I'm saying? Because you've been through that hall and you know what time it is. Whether you,
I mean, it's different in my time. It didn't sound like it was as wild as that, but
oh nah, it was wild. It was.
Yeah, Chino, I heard used to be
and Chino, man,
off the chain.
It was off, and I was only 20 years old, and they yelling now, send that motherfucker, send him in here with me. I'm looking up at the motherfuckers pointing down at me, a couple other homies. My homie Monster J was in there with me. Earl Johnson. It was you know, and they yelling that shit. Send that punk motherfucker in here with me. You know, literally. I'll take his virginity. This is shit that they saying while they marching us down the hallway. And in my mind, I'm from 619. I'm from Ocean View Park. Nigga ain't damn motherfucker. Nigga, you gonna have to rape a dead corpse.
But you think they was just saying that? They wasn't actually trying to...
No, a lot of it was intimidation, but when you 20 years old and you ain't never been in an environment like that, you don't know what to think.
Right. You got to take everything as a potential threat.
You don't know what to think, you know what I mean? And I, you know, and me, myself, I learned from it, man. I only went to the pen one time, man. They didn't have to tell me no more. That was 33 years ago, 34 years ago. You know what I mean? And I've been out ever since, man. I worked for the city of San Diego for 22 years. You know, I'm gonna get my pension check from that. I work for the county right now. I have a master's degree. I'm a licensed clinician. I own 3 properties. I put my two daughters and my son through college. You know what I mean? And now, you know, I'm a pillar of my community because all I try to do is give back to the community.
Right.
You dig what I'm saying? And one thing about me, I don't care what set you from, man. If you a black man, if you a brother, and you need something from me, if it's within my power, then I'm gonna look out. I don't care who you is.
All right, so you get out in what year?
I went in 86, I got out in 88.
88. Now, what was going on in 88 when you got out? I mean, I was born in 88.
When I got out in 88, man, we was hustling, man. I went right back to hustling on parole. That money don't stop. That money is addictive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Lucky enough, I didn't catch another case. You know, so I went back to hustling, and then I had this white man named Coach Dennison, who was my baseball coach at Lincoln High School. And I happened to go up to Lincoln High School for an event, and he saw me, and he pulled me to the side. He, you know, said my full government name, and he said, "Man, I heard that you know, kind of got yourself in a little bit of trouble and all this, you know." I said, "Yeah, Coach, you know what I mean?" I told him what happened. He went to jail. He said, "I'm out right now on parole, trying to think about what I'm gonna do." I said, "Man, well, you was a good baseball player, man. Won't you think about going back to school? You know, try to, you know." And him, Big Neil Petties, and a plethora of other people, man, really kind of helped me with my transition. You know what I mean? With my transition. That was when I was telling you, we were all trying to transition at that particular time, but my head was still in it. I wasn't no gang banger, but I was a banger. I mean, no, I wasn't a gang member. I was a gang banger. I banged. Half of these motherfuckers is gang members. My brothers and I was bangers. But for me, I still wanted something different for my life. You know, I didn't want to get killed on the streets, man.
Right.
I didn't want to catch a murder case. I didn't want to kill nobody. You know what I'm saying? You know, but certain things happen, and you still, once you become a gang member, you always a gang member. I'm talking about to today, your affiliation is going to always be stamped. Even if you're doing something positive, they can, they be like, okay, that's ball game right there, but he's from such and such.
Right.
I had to tell Melly Mel, I said, look, stop when we do these interviews. When I do an interview with you, stop putting the ball game from 5'9" Brims. I said, everybody know where I'm from. It doesn't have to be broadcasted.
Right.
I don't like it to be broadcasted because now my affiliation is with all y'all, with everybody.
Right.
You and I together right now. If some brothers come up from a different set and start banging on you, they gotta bang on me. Period. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My loyalty is to who I'm with, who I'm kicking it with. You know what I'm saying? And that's what people done got away from. All we want to do as black men, all we want to do is we get upset at each other, and the first thing we want to do is harm each other. Is want to do this or do this or do that. Like you say, sometimes you got to stay dangerous. It's very unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? But but for me, I try to rationalize, and if I see a situation that I don't think is going to be safe for me, then I won't engage.
Right.
When me and Melly came down and did the interview with Ras, I went up to Boundary Park. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, if I can't go around and all your OG homeboys, they know me. Ronnie Hill's like family to me. You know what I mean? I was comfortable going up there.
Right.
You know what I mean? If I wasn't, I'd have told you, hey man, we got to do this somewhere else.
Right.
But I'm the type, man, I'm gonna go where I go, man. If somebody got a problem with it, man, just allow me to leave. If who knows what may happen. Who knows, you know what I'm saying? What may happen, but man, I ain't got time to be scared of my own people, man.
That part. And I'm still, I feel how you feel. Hey, look, I'm at the age, I told the homie this the other day. I said, I'm at the age where I'm like, these is my people.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, I be like, man, I don't give a fuck. Fuck them niggas.
Yeah.
I'm at that point where it's like,
right.
It could go either way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But it ain't where you from, it's how you come. You know what I mean? If you come with the ignorant shit, I could get ignorant with you.
Right.
But I'm
right.
grown enough to have a conversation with you too.
Right.
It just depends on how you come and who you are. Some people I don't want to talk to.
Right. True.
You know what
true.
I mean? And those are them specifically, not because of their affiliation.
Right. Just them.
It's them because
Right.
of what they may have done.
Right.
And vice versa. They might not want to talk to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I'm at that age. But I see exactly what you're saying. But there's a very well-known figure out of your community that he was putting it down on the rap scene back in the days, and that's Gangsta.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very legendary name. It's a lot of people that I didn't know knew of him outside of San Diego.
Yeah, man. Ern was a good brother, man. Ern was a rider. Ern was a hustler. Ern was a family man. He was a father. You know what I'm saying? Ern was one of them homeboys who would give you, and I'm not, when somebody gone, the first thing people say, he would do this for you, he would do that for you.
He'd give you the shirt off his back. Yeah.
Ern literally would give you the shirt off his back. When Ern would have, when he would have the work and all that, Ern distributed the work to the homies, man. He wasn't selfish, man. You know what I'm saying? And the boy was good with his hands too. You know what I'm saying? And Ern was one of them type of brothers, man. Had he lived, Ern's album would have came out before NWA's album. And Ern's album to this day, you know what I'm saying? If they could remaster that motherfucker, it could probably do something. His sons, Little Terrence and Little Ern, is in control of his music right now, man. But Ern was one of them brothers. Me and Ern is the same age. I think Ern had me by 6 months. And Ern was well loved and well liked in the 5'9" Brims set. You know what I mean? It's very unfortunate that the brother's not here anymore. I'm not going to speak on that situation because it's a very sensitive situation within my neighborhood and with his family. So out of respect for the whole set and for his family, I'm not going to speak on the incident and all that. But
Right.
what I will say is that Ern was one of them type of brothers, man. He's either going to be your best friend or he's going to be your worst enemy. And if I'm from another set, I would want that brother to be my best friend because Ern had tactics. He creep up, man. Ern had his way of getting at people. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I used to call him one of the first peekaboo bandits. So you know what I mean? You look up, you don't even see him, and out of nowhere, he's standing right in front of you, ready to peel your cap.
Who was responsible for putting Southside on it? Cause that's unique.
My brother Melly and Ern and they crew,
Okay.
they whole crew was, cause my crew is I hung around the older homies. I hung around Hardy, Donald Terry, Mad Bob, John Massey, all them type of dudes. I didn't really hang with Ern and all them like that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the South Side was pinned, you know, by Ern, my brother Melly, they crew.
Right.
Simone,
And that's why I asked that, because I actually had heard that Ern had a hand in that part.
No, him and my brother did. The first time we did Brim Day, I think we the first set in San Diego to do a day. Brim Day started in my mama's garage.
What year was that?
I want to say Hoodie Hood. I want to say the first time we did Brim Day was in '92 or '93.
Right. Yeah. See, because I heard a Hood Day being a thing in '93.
Yeah. So we was the first ones to start that. And I mean, I'm talking about from all hoods, from here to LA, Compton. Brim says the first one to start Hood.
Now they just had a conversation on I want to say shout out to the Gangbangers Life Coach. If y'all haven't subscribed, go subscribe. That's the homie from Raymond. I think he said that the Hoovers was doing that like in the late 80s. That's the first time he heard of a Hood Day.
In the late 80s.
He said then everybody
Okay.
started doing it after that. He literally he had like a like top 5, I think, Crip trends.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think he said the Hoovers were responsible for Hood Day.
And if that is the case, well, then they the first ones. We the first ones that started here in San Diego.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know what they was doing up in LA.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, but we in '93 we
And it's possible somebody could have came from prison and heard that and like, "Ooh, I'm finna take that back to the streets and do it in my hood."
Mm-hmm, yeah, that could have been the case, but I don't know. Ern ain't here to talk about it. I can ask my brother Melly. You know what I'm saying? I can get at Melly about it because
Now your brother, not the hood postman,
No,
Melly
my
Mel,
brother.
because the
Yeah,
subscribers
right.
might be confused.
yeah, okay, yeah, but my brother Melly Mel. I'll ask him to try to get a timeline and try to put it back out there. But you know, we started the Brim Day. We started Brim Day. The concept started in my mama's garage. Ern and Melly and Simone Donald, Maddie Stone, all in they whole crew. They started that.
Now hold on, now real fast. It probably had to be prior to '93. If I don't know what year Ern died, but didn't he die before '93?
No. Yeah, no. Ern died in '94. I think '94, '93 or '92. Getting a little older, so my memory is
Right.
low.
Because if you saying he was there, then it had to be. I mean,
No, Ern was there. Ern was there.
he was there for sure.
Yeah, you got dang right.
All right.
Ern was there. You know what I mean? Ern was there. So let me see. I'm gonna
So two Pretty Kenny started Corner Pocket in his mama's garage, and you started Brim Day.
Yeah, they started
in the garage.
In the garage.
Right.
Yeah, they started talking. They started talking. Today is the 5th month, the 9th day, and all this. So
Right.
I was there. You know what I mean? But they was the ones talking about it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It didn't matter to me one way or the other. Hey, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, see if this dude will answer so I can get a direct timeline. Yeah, man. So, and you know what too, Dre, back in those days, man, we used to have we used to have a ball. I'm talking about we used to have so much fun, man. You know what I mean? It was the because it really wasn't, at least for me, it really wasn't about banging. It was about the hustling. I used to like to get the money, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? That was my main motivation, was getting the money, man. You know what I mean? But when it was time to get down, you dig what I'm saying? I'm definitely was one of the ones like, well, fuck it, let's go do this. You know what I mean?
Your call has been forwarded to
He'll hit me back right now. He'll hit me back in a hot second. Watch. So a lot of the timelines is just a little skewed with me.
Right.
But all the major players, I named them.
All right. So, you said you got out in '88. What's going on? Like all throughout, like I would say the '90s. You didn't go back to jail as far as the pen.
No, I went back one time on that thing I was telling you about where they was trying to get me 18.
Right.
When we did that home invasion and
you said that was about 2000.
That was in 2002.
All right.
That was in 2002. So I did, other than the time I did in the pen and that little 4.5, 5 months I did in the county jail.
All right.
But I by the grace of God, all praises be to Jah, I was able to beat that case.
You came home. You've been straight since that.
So I've been straight since that.
All right. Now, I feel like I'm missing something.
What are you missing, man? You was asking about a couple of fights.
Boom. We're gonna get these hand guards because I know you didn't seen a lot of squabbles, man. And you can name them from every section that you could remember.
I remember them all. Marvin Miller, Donnie Ramsey, Trey Dog, Boss Rock. I got down heads up with him.
Yeah, you didn't. I told you to hold off on that story. You can tell that story now. You can tell it now.
You know what? You ask anybody in the greater thing of San Diego, I threw a blood and crip party in '89. It was epic. Nobody got killed. Nobody got hurt. It wasn't even one heads up fight. Everybody went home 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. I threw a blood and crip party in East Day. Everybody did. I'm talking about all the sets. We in there partying. Did nobody set trip. A couple of weeks later, Boss Rock come home. From where he was at, and we kind of had words in my mama's house. We didn't, at the time, his sister and brother, his brother was living with us, so we didn't get down that time. It was just, it got put out there in the air. So I seen just a little bit before he got hit, man, before he got killed. And Benji, and me and him really shouldn't have never even been fighting, man, because he's like family to me as well. And seen him in East Day go up by Landis Park, and it went down. You know what I mean? And we got down, we jumped. You know what I'm saying? What broke up the fight was my brother came around the corner with a pistol grip gauge. You dig what I'm saying? And busted at the park. But dummy, why you busting at the park and I'm standing in the park?
He could have hit you.
Yeah.
Who was all up there? Was it a lot of people?
It was a lot. It was quite a few people. I can't name who was all up there, but I know some of the Playboy dudes is up there. My original intent was to go up there and get at one of the Playboy dudes. I won't say his name, you know what I mean, just to protect his integrity. But my intent was, I went up there to chunk heads up with him and ran into the rock. You know know what I mean? And that boy can sling them things. That fight was a hard one for me.
All right, so yeah, who's some more legendary squabblers
man,
from back then?
David Pittman, Big Charlie Cat from the David Pittman from 5'9", Big Charlie Cat, Gangster, Bahati, Hal McGowan, Big John Massey, Brian Jackson slinging things, Rough House, Tango, all these is brothers from my set. I'm not saying this because it's the Brims. A lot of brothers from my neighborhood can chunk them things. There's too many to name. Feeny Boy from West Coast, Smiling Owl. Big Al, Ricky Weaver. The one from West Coast, I seen who can sling them things. Made me ashamed to be a Brimster one time because he tipped up one of the homies was Richard Mays from West Coast. They called him Mays Dog. Richard Mays slaying them things, man. My homeboy Fabulous Frankie, who is he's a pastor now at Mount Erie Church. But when he preaching from the pulpit, he telling people that he ain't lost his hand. Big Fabulous Frankie from Central City. Scotty G from Lincoln Park. Mad Blood from Lincoln Park. Stacy Butler, his brother Keith. There's just too many a name from Lincoln Park as well. From Skyline, you got a lot of brothers from Skyline. Rest in peace to Silk. He slaying them things from Skyline, baby. He was slaying them things. There's just too many. There's so many names. I know I'm skipping some people. Right. So if I missed you, I apologize. Don't run up on me saying you want to chunk them. You know what I mean? You know, I might.
Let them know you still got it.
Yeah, I might. You know what I mean? You know
right.
I mean?
Hey, I keep one of them too.
You know what I mean?
I keep one.
Like you said, stay dangerous.
Yeah, in some type of way.
I will tell you this. Before I have to get down, I'll run first. And I ain't talking about run like I'm scared. Hey man, let me leave, man. If that person don't allow me to leave, then I'm gonna have to do what I got to do. But in the day of Big Brother, cameras is everywhere.
Man, it's just a different day and age. You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do to you.
Right.
And how they gonna prosecute me for
right.
it.
Yeah. Right.
I'm also thinking about what you may do to me.
Because like you said, if you trying to leave.
Yeah.
And whatever's watching you see that you're not the aggressor, and then you do what you do. Now, if you the aggressor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's gonna be all bad on you.
Right.
So, yeah, that, but we ain't gonna expose too much of that in here. But I know exactly where you coming from.
Yeah, that part. So and like I say, and where I'm at in my life right now, all I do is come in peace. I'm telling everybody in San Diego right here and now. I'm telling everybody in Compton, LA, Sacramento, Oakland, Frisco, and then everybody in Dallas, Houston, who I fuck with, everybody in Atlanta, some of my homeboys in New Jersey, some of the homies in North Carolina, South Carolina, all up the coast who know me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no problems with nobody. You know, I come in peace, and I'm asking anybody who might got beef with what we do on these interviews. If you don't like what I'm saying, man, it's no disrespect to you individually. It's no disrespect to your set. I might miss something. I might have said something that I wasn't too privy on that somebody might misconstrue it as disrespectful. I don't want y'all to misconstrue it as me being disrespectful, because that's not my intent. So if you don't like what I'm saying on these videos, man, you dig what I'm saying? Keep scrolling, man. But please, if you see me, just leave me be, man.
Right. Or they could, like a grown man, they could get in the comments and they could make corrections to something that they might have felt like you was off on. Right. Or my favorite, get at me on Instagram and we could set it up to where you can tell your story. And I'm talking about somebody that was there that know. And I'm talking about no little young nigga my age or younger who heard. I'm talking about somebody of that generation. You know what I mean? Holla at me and you could tell your side of the story. You know what I mean? But other than that, like he said, and like my boy Nate Dogg 916 always say, hey man, we ain't looking for no smoke. We ain't ducking no smoke. We ain't allergic to no smoke. You know what I mean?
And that's a good, and I like how Dre just put that, because me myself, man, where I'm at in my life, man, I don't want to see another young brother dead. I don't want to see another young sister dead. You know what I mean? And especially behind words, or especially just, you know, us trying to express, you know, the history and you know, talk about some of the things that we went through, you know what I'm saying, you know, while we were growing up in you know, in the Salty D, man. You know, San Diego has a very rich history, man. You know, and I'm gonna say this because I remember the LA boys would always be like, well, up in LA, you know, we got 10 people getting killed every day. On this block is a Crip set, on this block is a Blood set. You know, we the dangerous city in the world, or whatever. You know, and you have people bragging on that, man. That's not something to brag about.
Right.
One thing about San Diego, though, you ain't gonna come to San Diego and you ask them boys, them LA boys who would come in the early 80s, you ain't gonna come to San Diego, you dig what I'm saying, and tromp on our big toe, because every set in San Diego got some riders, got killers. I don't care what set you from. And if you ain't from San Diego and you come here with that bullshit, you're gonna get your hat handed to you. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so
keep trying to tell them.
So, you know, so don't think that the Salty, you dig what I'm saying, is a pushover, because we ain't never been that. And in the pen, our reputation behind them walls exceeds itself on the Crip and Blood side. You dig what I'm saying? So it ain't no punks in San Diego. You know, and the ones who are punks, they've already been ran up out their neighborhoods. So I ain't even got to speak on them. They know who they is.
Or they still in the process.
Are
As
they
far
still-
as the younger ones.
Right? Are they still in the process? You know. So one thing about me, I try to be careful about what I say, and that's the reason why I put that disclaimer out there about this interview or any other interview that I've done. If you feel like I didn't say something about your set that should have been said, or I said something that might be a little off, you know, in reference to what you guys may know, I don't mean no disrespect with that, man. You know what I mean? Because I got love for all the hoods, man, and I got love for the 619. So as far as I'm concerned, that's you know, that's my take on that, man. You know what I mean?
All right. You had mentioned earlier some of the things that you got going on nowadays. Can you reiterate that again, like what you doing in the community and your, you know, owning stuff?
Thank you. I was able at the time when I started understanding credit and all these things, I was able to buy a little small condo. It was a 1-bedroom, and I got it at a good price, and I kept it. I mean, my mortgage was kind of low, and when I bought this place, I started learning more and more about, you know, financial literacy, you know, how to refinance, how to up your credit score and all these types of things. And you know who else was an inspiration to me when we talks about these things is Little CS, because the brother, he got a lot of experience, him and his wife, with they hustle thing. You know what I mean? So Dory, I'm really inspired by that brother, and he ain't the only one. My homeboy Big Melvin Langston out of Lincoln Park, he owned homes. You got a lot of brothers, man, that's doing well.
Man, and that's my overall end game when I'm talking to people from different sections, man. Let the world know what you doing now, to where they don't think that everybody just some old dude hanging in front of a liquor store or up at a park, you know what I mean, still on drugs, still drunk, still reminiscing about the old days. Let them know more people, you know what I mean, that's on what you own, owning stuff, and trying to pass that game down to the youngsters, man.
And that's what I do. And then I also work with the Shafat No Shots Fired. You know what I mean? I go out and I talk to the youngsters, and I don't even tell the youngsters to stop gang banging and all that. I try to give these youngsters, what I do is I try to paint a picture for these kids of what the consequences are when they get caught up in this justice system. Because you can't tell somebody to stop gang banging. Big Kirk dog from neighborhood stated well, I can't tell these youngsters to stop banging if I ain't got nothing for them to do.
Right.
So, you know, I don't go, my philosophy is not to stop gang banging, you just messing up your life. No, I try to give these little brothers some optimism about what they could do if they change their lifestyle. You know, for me, you know what I'm saying, I'm financially set. I have a pension coming. When it's time for me to stop working, you know, I'm gonna have a check coming where I'm gonna still be able to pay my bills until the day that I die. Because I worked all these years with the city of San Diego. I work for the county right now. I have a master's degree in communication and human services. You know, I'm an alumni of Liberty University. You know, so, you know, transition takes time. You understand what I'm saying? But anything that you're determined to go after can be accomplished. And let me tell you why, because y'all is looking at him right now. And I was determined to do better in my life, and I did. And one of my greatest highlights, I'm gonna tell y'all what my greatest highlights is that my son didn't follow in my footsteps. Other than going to school and getting his degree, subsequently right now, working on his master's degree.
There it is there. Well, I mean, man, it was a pleasure having you. That was the perfect way to end it. I don't even know what to say after that. You know what I mean? That's what we here for. You know what I mean? All the other stuff is cool, you know what I mean, to let people know what we've been through and what not to do. But to be able to show people that you turned it around and you wasn't one of those people in and out, and nothing against the homies that did a long time or was in and out, because like you said, it takes different people a different amount of time to learn, homie, and to be able to overcome their personal demons. But it's a good thing that you said you got on 88, homie. I was born in 88. I'm about to be 35 this year.
My oldest daughter's 36.
There you go. And besides that little slip up in 2001, 2002, you been out, you done turned your life around, homie. And that's the type of stuff I look up to, homie, as far as older people who came from that lifestyle. Don't get it twisted. I still respect the reputables that did, as long as they did, you know what I mean? But to see them now doing better is what I'm always gonna praise over everything else, homie. Yeah. So I appreciate you coming through. Yeah, man, that was a lot of good game, a lot of history. Hopefully we could get Big John Massey next time, or whoever else, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, that's all I got. You got any, is that it? You got
man,
anything else?
This is the thing, man. Just always remember this, man. You can, the best way to get to your dreams is to stop procrastinating, man. Do your thing, man. Go to school, get a degree. School ain't for everybody, but get some type of certification, do something to better your lives, man, because your lives mean something, man. You know, we lost a lot of good brothers and sisters to bullshit, man. You know, and for me, I'm lucky enough to still be here, not only living, but not to be in somebody's prison, man. You know, and again, man, you know, like I said, I want to reiterate this one more time, man. If anything was said in these interviews that somebody didn't like, then let me be the first one to apologize, because my intention is not to be disrespectful towards anybody. And that's the reason why certain things I will say, you know, sometimes when Dre asked a question, I might have said, hey, these people going to have to speak on their own history, because you want to be careful when you're talking about another set that you don't belong to. Another thing, man, I want to thank this brother too, man, Hoodie Hood, and from that big old end, because you know, the brother, he's doing what he's doing. He's doing a damn good job in what he's doing, man. And it's just a matter of time, you know what I'm saying, God willing, to where he really get to where I'm at, to where, you know, he's able to do some of the things that he wants to do. So, Hoodie Hood, I want nothing but the best for you, homie, and your family. You understand me? You know, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. And I want that for all you brothers and sisters out there, man. I get on the airplane at least 4 or 5 times a year, man. And I just go to places and just experience things that a lot of people, you got a lot of homeboys that live in these neighborhoods and they ain't never been nowhere, man. The world is one big old place for us to fuck up in it, man. Right. You know, hey, look,
we was just talking about how, or at least me, I don't come over here.
Yeah.
And this is in our city.
And
That's
that's why I was telling you. That's why I said, I got a perfect place. Get out the monotony. You know what I'm saying? But look where we at. But look how they're conducting themselves.
carefree.
Carefree. They not fighting. They not arguing with one another. They not killing one another. You know what I'm saying? You don't see them hating on one another. They behind me having a good time walking their dogs.
They having picnics and all kind of.
You know what I'm saying? And we do the same thing.
Right.
You go to Houston, you go to Dallas, you go to Atlanta. You see a lot of prominent neighborhoods. San Diego have theirs as well. You know what I'm saying? But one thing I will say, I do see us as black people. I see the growth in us, man. And we still got a lot of work to do, but I see the growth in us, man, as a community as a whole. And we still, we still got a lot of work to do, especially in some of those Chicago neighborhoods and some of those girls down in Houston and Dallas, right here in our own backyard up in Oakland. You know what I'm saying? We still got a lot of work to do, man, but I see progress within our people, man, and I'm very optimistic about our future, man. And I love my brothers and sisters, man, and I'm gonna leave you with that, man. You wanna go get something to eat, man?
Let's do it, homie. Hey, and as long as we got older black men like you in the community, homie, pressing what you pressing, yeah, we gonna be all right. We in good hands. So with that being said, this your boy Hoodie from the Hood, your friend from that big O N. That's the ball game. I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we will be back at y'all with something else soon. I'm out.